literally debut. It's got to be when she plays Caitlin Clark. So they obviously end up debuting at All-Star Weekend because Caitlin didn't play when they were in Chicago, and Caitlin didn't play, or Caitlin's not playing in this game, so they're debuting at All-Star Weekend. The plan was to literally go and use Caitlin Clark for the launch of it. And I'm like,
Angel Reese didn't just show up to the 2025 WNBA All-Star Weekend, she came to make a statement. With the league's biggest stage set in Indianapolis, the hometown of rising icon Caitlin Clark, Reese arrived with a calculated plan: take the spotlight, own the moment, and launch herself, and her new signature shoe, into superstardom. This wasn't just marketing. It was a full-scale, strategic power play meant to crown her the new face of the WNBA. The timing, the location, the message, all of it was designed to overshadow her biggest rival on her own turf. But behind the bold visuals and big talk was a critical flaw: none of it worked without Caitlin Clark. The campaign Reese built didn't orbit her own star, it leaned entirely on someone else's. And when that someone didn't show, the entire illusion collapsed. What was meant to be a career-defining weekend turned into a harsh and very public lesson, not just about branding, but about star power you can't fake.
We shall never know peace. At least when it comes to the WNBA space. It was this ad that Angel put out, and I don't know if this was part of a larger campaign where it's going to be similar themes in similar places, but because of where the WNBA All-Star Game is, and because of who plays on the Indiana Fever in the home city of the WNBA All-Star Game, it's going to raise some eyebrows, let's say.
Angel, me-bound, pray up, Reese. You're only relevant because you keep bringing up my precious CC. You want to pull up with your Billboard Reebok ad in Indiana talking about you in her trap. Man, stop it. You out of there. You hear me? My precious CC don't be in no trap. Real talk. You hear me? At the end of the day, she don't do those type of things. Yes. You hear me? Don't put that with her name at the end of the day. If you be in a trap, that's your business. You hear me? Whatever the case may be, that ain't nothing to be proud of.
On paper, the strategy was a masterstroke. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game was set to take place in Indianapolis, the stronghold of the Indiana Fever and, more importantly, Caitlin Clark's home court. This was meant to be Angel Reese's breakthrough moment, the weekend she stepped into the spotlight and claimed her place at the top. Reese and her sponsor, Reebok, executed an aggressive marketing campaign designed to dominate the city. The centerpiece was the launch of her first signature shoe, the Angel Re 1, unveiled right in the heart of Clark's territory. Giant billboards featuring Reese's face dominated the skyline, sending a bold and unmissable message: I'm in your city. But this wasn't just about a shoe release. It was a calculated power move, a declaration of war aimed at stealing the spotlight and establishing Reese as the new queen of the WNBA. Every element was crafted to unsettle her rival and captivate the attention of fans and media alike.
it's one of those things where it's like it's very clear that one side is absolutely trying to milk whatever rivalry there is. Whatever rivalry there is, it is one side trying to do everything they can to keep it together, because that is where they're going to be at their most relevant.
But beneath the surface of this bold plan lay one critical weakness. The entire multi-million-dollar campaign, every billboard, every press release, every marketing dollar, hinged on the presence of one player. And that player wasn't Angel Reese. The strategy was less about forging her own path and more about riding the wave of Caitlin Clark's immense star power. Everyone involved knew that Clark's participation would guarantee sold-out crowds and record-breaking TV ratings. Instead of building her own momentum, Reese's team chose to lean on Clark's magnetic pull, hoping to catapult Reese into the spotlight simply by proximity. This was a calculated risk, one that treated Clark as the gravitational center of the weekend, with Reese trying to absorb the glow by standing nearby. But it was a fragile setup. The entire campaign's success rested on Clark stepping onto that court and commanding the stage.
But there is the part of me that's like, is this really necessary? And shouldn't Angel Reese be able to market herself at this point without invoking or even, insinuating some sort of attachment to Caitlin Clark? Because if I'm being honest about it, people say that moment was huge. It will live forever. That moment will live forever. But Caitlin Clark was on this trajectory already. And if anyone has benefited more from the attachment, at least from an attention standpoint, it's been Angel.
WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the rookie, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here. And look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing.
Then, just days before the big event, everything collapsed. The carefully crafted plan disintegrated in an instant. News broke that Caitlin Clark had suffered a groin injury and would be sidelined for the All-Star Game. Suddenly, the centerpiece of the weekend was missing. Clark, the superstar capable of filling arenas within minutes and turning an ordinary game night into a headline event, was now stuck watching from the bench. The impact was immediate and harsh. For the league, it was a major blow. But for Angel Reese and her meticulously designed campaign, it was nothing short of a disaster. Her entire strategy, built around Clark's presence, was now chasing an empty shadow. The spotlight she so desperately aimed to claim was abruptly extinguished, leaving her and the multi-million-dollar campaign in the dark. Picture the chaos behind the scenes: frantic calls, emergency meetings, and a wave of panic washing over Reebok's marketing team. The star they'd banked on had disappeared, and Angel Reese was left alone on a stage that no one was watching.
So the WNBA's All-Star Game went down 36%. That is a lot. That's more than a third from last year. Last year was over 3.4 million people, and it went down to 2.1. Now, you could say is a success. Yeah, for women's sport, that is still a lot of people. But at the same time, it really isn't a success, because think about it. It's the only sport playing. It's the only game that's going, and you only could draw that. So, and this is with all the stars. Remember, guys.
The first real alarm bells rang out in the viewership numbers, and what they revealed was harsher than any criticism. The 2024 All-Star Game, with a fully fit and commanding Caitlin Clark on the court, attracted an astonishing 3.44 million viewers. This wasn't merely a basketball game, it was a cultural phenomenon. Even casual fans, many who'd never tuned into a WNBA game before, were glued to their screens, captivated by the event's energy and Clark's star power.
The WNBA All-Star Game ratings have come out, and all I could think of right off the bat was 4 little letters: F-A-F-O. F around and find out. You bleep around and find out what this league looks like without Caitlin Clark being involved in your biggest events. Kathy Engelbert, this should be a perfect example of why you need to get your officiating cleaned up, and you need to have a talk with your players in the league.
Fast forward to 2025, and the numbers tell a harsh, undeniable story. Without Caitlin Clark on the court, viewership nosedived to just 2.19 million, a staggering 36% drop from the previous year. The league's PR team scrambled to spin this, pointing to 2023's pre-Clark numbers of 850,000 as a comparison, but the public wasn't buying it. That was a thin veil over a hard truth: nearly 1.3 million fans simply chose to tune out. This wasn't a minor dip, it was a brutal wake-up call. The so-called Caitlin Clark effect isn't some gentle wave lifting everyone, it's a tsunami that dominates the scene, leaving others struggling to keep afloat in her shadow.
You can barely dribble. You miss layups on purpose, and they record them as rebounds. You be stat padding. You don't elevate your players. You went to a stacked LSU team. You hear me? My precious CC owns you. You want to know the record? She is 5-2 against you. You beat her in college one time. That championship. But what happened to the year after that? She sent you home. You hear me? And waved to your coach. You hear me? At the end of the day.
The fallout didn't stop at TV ratings. In the real world, where money speaks loudest, the impact was immediate and brutal. As soon as Clark's injury was confirmed, the ticket market for the All-Star Game cratered. The average get-in price, once a solid $121, plunged 48% down to just $64. That's right, nearly half the value of the league's biggest event evaporated because one player wasn't there. Fans weren't buying tickets for the All-Star game itself, they were buying tickets to see Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, Angel Reese showed up in enemy territory with her flashy new shoe and big-budget campaign, only to have the market tell a harsh truth: her presence was worth less than half of Clark's. The secondary market, the ultimate test of demand, had spoken loud and clear. What was once the hottest ticket in town suddenly became a bargain bin deal overnight.
And sent a blatant message. A shot across thou bow. Alright? And your ship, well, without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA and all their pay us what you owe us action, that action will sink. That action will sink. Woo! WNBA All-Star Game sees ratings drop without Caitlin Clark, and it's ugly. It's real ugly. Who is this?
There's no comparison between y'all two. You hear me? And she has a $28 million Nike deal. Nike is better than Reebok last time I checked. And Angel, me-bound pre-up Reese, last time I checked, you said Indianapolis was racist and they was dangerous. Why did you show up? Because you could have just watched from the crib. You hear me? So let me tell you this. Please stop associating my precious CC with the trap. She don't know what a trap is. At the end of the day, she might know what a rat trap or mouse trap is, okay? But anything else other than that, please do not. No, we not gonna do that.
Nothing highlighted the weekend's tone-deaf disaster quite like Reese's own marketing campaign. The slogan, "I'm in your city," paired with bold social posts like, "Walk in your trap, take over your trap," was meant to scream confidence and swagger. Instead, with Clark sidelined by injury, it came off as desperate and opportunistic. How do you take over someone's city when they're not even there to defend it? The campaign reeked of a victory by default, like celebrating a knockout because your opponent tripped before the fight even started. Social media was merciless. One user tweeted, "She can't even promote her own shoe without leaning on Caitlin Clark." Another mocked the sparse crowds, noting there were more photographers than fans at her events. The campaign meant to crown Reese Queen only made her look like the court jester.
So one of his genius decisions was this. Fucking signing her, Angel Reese. If you don't know who she is, she's the queen of like fish out of water going after a rebound that she shot herself and can get in the net ever. She reminds me of a 3-year-old shooting on those little kids' nets and throwing the ball and just completely missing the mark and like scampering back to get the ball and then shooting again real fast and it just doesn't come anywhere near the hoop. That is, if you haven't seen her play, that's what it is. Put that image here, that is her.
The most humiliating blow might have come from within Reese's own camp, a moment of accidental truth caught on camera for the whole world to see. In the Netflix docuseries Power Moves, which follows Shaquille O'Neal's tenure as president of Reebok Basketball, Shaq was recorded laying out strategy. He explicitly said Angel Reese needed to be decked out head to toe in Reebok gear when she played against Caitlin Clark, admitting the brand had to ride Clark's massive star power. This wasn't just a strategy, it was an open confession straight from the top. Reese's own sponsor was essentially confirming on film that her value peaked only when standing in Clark's shadow. The brand supposed to elevate her as a star was instead openly scheming to use another player's light to sell their products. The harsh truth? Reese's brand couldn't stand on its own 2 feet. She wasn't a co-star in this story, she was a prop, positioned to get closer to the real headliner.
Man, look, I don't know what the fuck Angel Reese was thinking. She wanted her shoe that just came out a couple months ago that cost $1,000. Now look, I'm all for athletes getting their shoe, getting a shoe deal, having their design, specified, perfect shoe that significant to them and to other fans. But $1,000 for a shoe, love, I love you, I really do. But you definitely been on some shit. Like lately. I'm not going to lie to you. You have. But $1,000, no.
Failed campaign laid bare the massive gap between the two athletes' real-world market power. Caitlin Clark's shoe deal isn't just a contract, it's a cultural phenomenon. When her Nike Kobe 5 Protos dropped, they sold out within minutes. The $190 shoes were instantly flipping for over $600, a clear signal of fierce organic demand. Her 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike, the undisputed king of basketball footwear, was no gamble. It was a calculated investment in a guaranteed star. Industry insiders now predict Clark's upcoming signature shoe, set for a 2026 launch, could become a $150 million business. Now, look at Angel Reese's situation. Her Angel Reese 1 launched under Reebok, a legacy brand struggling to regain relevance. While Clark's shoe ignited frenzy and excitement, Reese's launch was met with a collective shrug. The billboards blared loudly, but the consumer response was deafeningly silent. The All-Star Weekend made one thing crystal clear: you can't just slap a player's name on a shoe and expect it to fly off shelves. The power lies in the player, not the marketing. And the market had spoken, loud and clear.
She is so bad that when Caitlin Clark and her were supposed to face off against each other the other week, the ticket sales went down from $100 to like $5 because Caitlin Clark got injured. She had a quad injury, so she wasn't playing. So guess what? No one wanted to go watch. And if you don't know Caitlin Clark, she's pretty much the GOAT of the WNBA and is the reason why people are watching. No one watches you, Angel Reese. No one watches you. The only thing that I enjoy watching is all the clips on TikTok of you just countlessly just missing every shot that you take.
This entire fiasco begs a tough question: is this even a real rivalry? On the court, the numbers tell a lopsided story. Caitlin Clark holds a commanding 5-2 edge in their head-to-head matchups. Sure, Angel Reese snagged a college championship win, but Clark came back the very next year and ended Reese's run in the tournament. The rivalry feels more like a marketing construct, something brewed in boardrooms and amplified on social media, than an intense battle reflected in the scoreboard. It's a narrative Angel Reese desperately clings to in order to stay relevant nationally, while Clark's stardom stands strong on its own. And when the weekend imploded, Reese's bold "I'm in your city" swagger evaporated. By Sunday night, she posted a subtle, telling message on social media: "This was the most fun I've had in a while because of the players." That carefully worded line wasn't just a casual shout-out, it was a quiet jab at the fans and the city of Indianapolis. What it really was, though, was a retreat. A silent surrender from someone who came to conquer a city but left without its respect or attention. An unspoken admission of defeat.